In the past 12 months, I've leveraged split testing and direct response funnels to add more than 7 figures in revenue between all of our e-commerce clients. So today I want to show you why you need to be split testing from 2025 and onwards to be able to beat your competition, how we are going to do this, and frequently asked questions I get from brand owners. We're going to look at them here. Starting with reason number one, we all know that with paid traffic, whoever can spend the most wins. Can you afford to spend more on acquisition than your competitors? If not, you need to listen to this very carefully. Marketing spend efficiency is what creates the ability to outspend and dominate. If your funnel, offers, and pages aren't maximized, your superior product, even if you have a superior product, will lose to a competitor with an optimized acquisition engine simply because they can afford to spend more than you. Going to reason number two, the market isn't forgiving. We all see this with rising ad costs every year on every ad platform, so volume won't save you. In 5 years from now, you'll wish you had the same metrics and ad costs as today, and the market will keep trending upwards. So 2024 in this context is early, so the time to optimize is now. Reason number three is efficiency is the only way. More efficient funnels and store allow you to outspend your competitors, which is reason number one we mentioned. Scale with better margins and sustain profitability at a higher volume, because if you optimize those, you can both outspend your competition on acquisition and do so at a higher profitability. The path to dominate is higher conversion rate, AOV, and lifetime value per customer. Reason number four is competitive edge. The brands that will thrive in 2025 and beyond will have these three things in place, which are the three things we focus on when working with our e-commerce partners. Cold-friendly offers that allow to spend more than a competition on acquisition, which is reason number one we mentioned. High converting funnels that can sustain that level of spend. Obviously, if you're going to spend more and be able to spend more on acquisition, you're going to want to couple them with funnels that can handle all of the traffic and all of that spend, and also max marketing efficiency in terms of dollars going in and how many dollars actually are coming out of the ad spend, with relentless testing to improve AOV, conversion rate, and lifetime customer value. And this is done by making sure every single dollar you put in the machine brings out as many dollars as possible. When you start implementing a split testing strategy, you'll also be able to solve 4 problems that every single e-commerce brand out there on the planet has. Problem number one being rising customer acquisition costs. Every year it gets more and more expensive to acquire customers. Every month more competitors start pouring in money. Ad costs are rising across every single platform, Meta, Google, TikTok, whatever, you name it. You're paying more for clicks, but you're not getting more revenue out of it. And this is also what I've mentioned before with marketing efficiency. Even if ad costs keep going up and the cost per acquisition keep going up, you need to make sure that the efficiency of your ad spend stays up, so you make sure that every single dollar that goes in brings out as much revenue as possible. Problem number two being growth at scale. Growing starts getting more difficult at a bigger scale. Obviously, it's not as simple as increasing ad spend budgets anymore, or at least it was like that maybe 4, 5, 6 years ago. At the higher levels, you need to have a growth system in place that reliably outputs incremental improvements that stack over time. And our CRO system that we implement for our clients does exactly that. Or you can do it for yourself by looking at my 1-hour full e-commerce split testing guide. I'll leave the video in the top right card here. Problem number three is funnel leaks. So you need to be able to convert every single type of traffic, cold, warm, and hot. And this is something that's missing from a lot of brands here. Sending traffic straight to the PDP is not enough anymore, at least if you are trying to grow at any meaningful scale. You need to add advertorials, listicles, sales pages into the mix, but not just that. That's what most brands get wrong. Also having a strategy in place for testing these funnels and selling angles towards different customer personas. That's what's super important about funnels and how we leverage funnels for our clients. And then problem number four being obviously opportunity cost. As we've mentioned, at scale, you're losing money actively by not doing it. All of these problems combined mean huge losses. The biggest brands in the world know this. That's why they are optimizing every single click they get, and day in, day out, you can look at their store, you can look at their funnels. They're always split testing things on all of their pages. Now, how are you going to solve these problems and implement the strategy for yourself? I have the 4 steps here, but as I've mentioned, I have my 1-hour full guide on this entire topic in depth here, but here we're going to go through them much quicker in 4 simple steps. Step number one being deep research and analysis, the foundation of everything related to split testing and also testing funnels and selling angles. We combine qualitative and quantitative data to pinpoint the most significant leaks in your funnels. This includes customer behavior and reviews, traffic sources, funnel performance, target audience needs, and a specific customer persona. You need to know your customer persona like the back of your hand if you want to sell and test effectively your funnels and your store. Step number two being strategic hypothesis building. So obviously after we conducted research and we have that data in our knowledge base, we understand the gaps and we move to structured hypothesis building, and we focus first on high leverage areas that impact metrics. So what is the goal of the change? What metric will be impacted? What will the change be, timeline and expected results, we need to make sure that everything is clear and directed towards a specific goal or a KPI that we have in common. Every test that we run for you will have a clear goal, how we can get more value from every single visitor, and also any split test that you run for your brand will need to have this goal of how you can get more value out of every single conversion after every single click you get. Step 3 being offer and funnel optimization. Cold traffic is one of the hardest audiences to convert, and that's why we focus on building cold friendly offers and why you should focus on that too, that speak directly to less aware customers. So your offer must solve a painful problem, fulfill a deep desire, and position your product as the only viable choice. That's how you win, and that's how you're able to outspend your competition. And in parallel, you need to focus on optimizing your sales funnels to increase conversion rates, boost average order value, and improve customer lifetime. Step 4 is compounding improvements. Optimization is not a one and done effort. It's a continuous cycle of testing, learning, and scaling. If you're not going to stick to this for at least 3 to 6 months, then it doesn't really make sense to start at all. You need to start seeing those incremental improvements stacking over time. Every improvement we make is backed by data, and every test builds on the success of the last. This creates a compounding effect where small wins add up to massive growth over time, and that's why you need time for it. For brands at scale, even a 1-2% improvement in conversion rate or AOV translates to significant revenue gains over time, but we stack even better improvements than those at 10 to 15% with our testing, with an average ROI of 3x at a conservative number to 15x at an outlier level for clients of ours. Now I want to answer some frequently asked questions I get from brand owners when getting on calls with them and speaking with them every day. First one being, how is this different from the split testing we're already doing? So 96% of the brands out there, at least on Shopify, are not doing split testing. The adoption of CRO and split testing tool is very low. So most of them are not doing it, but for the brands that are doing it at scale and that are at that level where they can actually get results from this, how is this different from split testing they're already doing? So our strategy specifically is the reason we get these results for our calling clients. How we conduct research and analyze your brand's audience allows us to craft specific tests tailored to your situation that have the highest probability of winning. The system we have behind the scenes of building a cyclical process of coming up with hypotheses, testing them, analyzing the data, and feeding the process with new information. So all about that research part, that knowing the customer part, is super important of what we do. And the knowledge we gathered from working and testing for dozens of other brands in your same niche will help us craft better performing tests, because we've worked with all of these brands in different niches and we know what works and what doesn't. Next question is how to prioritize what to test first. The answer is we have a formula that works flawlessly for prioritizing tests, and I've mentioned this also in my 1 hour guide. Direct impact times ease of implementation times percentage of traffic impacted gives you an impact score of what you need to focus on first. The tech that impacts the biggest slice of traffic and is easiest to implement will be the highest priority, obviously, and every other test comes after that following the impact score. Next question is, how long does it take to see measurable results? Split testing is not a one-time process and it's not fast, as I've mentioned. It takes time because we have to make sure tests are statistically significant and we are actually improving your metrics reliably and making sure that the results we get are actually data-backed and you can make decisions off of those. We usually suggest brands to stick with split testing for at least 3 to 6 months to effectively validate the results of the process. And you have to remember here that you're going for compounding incremental growth. You're not going to see immediate growth overnight. You're not going to see 50, 100% improvement. You're going to see 5, 10, 15, 20% improvements stack over time with winning tests, and you're going to need those, and you need time to achieve all of those. Having said that, here's how the first 7 days of working with us look like, and here I have a breakdown of how the first week of collaborating with my agency looks like. I have a video also for this on my channel called the POV of how it looks like to start CRO with us, and I'll leave the video in the top right card here. The next question is, what metrics do you focus on improving? So here there are 4 very important metrics you need to focus on when split testing. This obviously also depends on what strategy you're going for in your offers, in your branding, with your product. It depends also on the niche. The 4 main metrics though are revenue per visitor, which is a combination of average order value and conversion rate. A lot of people here try to focus on conversion rate, try to get conversion rate up because obviously it's called conversion rate optimization. But you're going to miss the bigger picture doing that. You need to also look at average order value, and the perfect metric to look at, to consider both in the same metric, is revenue per visitor, because even if conversion rate goes down with the test you run, but the average order value goes up, then you may end up being more profitable in the end, even if conversion rate is down. So you need to focus on these metrics, and also customer lifetime value. If you're going to have subscription offers or MRR offers, you need to also want to reduce churn while increasing the conversion rate on your subscription. Last question I have here is, how much time and involvement will be required from your team? If you decide to start working with us, this is a done for you service. So the first week requires the most time, and the focus will be to get aligned on the growth plan, KPIs, and priorities. And after that, the process will be pretty much hands off for you, besides checking and verifying split tests and landing pages before they go live. I want to also address this question in the form of brands that want to start doing this in-house, and that's why I have my 1-hour guide for that, for brands that want to start building a team to do CRO in-house for them. So obviously that depends on the complexity of the process. CRO is one of the most complex process, at least from a time and resources perspective. If you, for example, consider email marketing or creatives and testing creatives on your ad platforms, then those are fairly simple in the matter of setting them up and also testing them. But CRO requires a lot of different concepts together. Copywriting requires design, it requires development, it requires technical knowledge to be able to actually set up the test. It requires someone to look at the data and analyze the data and build that knowledge base that are going to be able to output tests that are actually relevant for your brand. So it's one of the most time and resources intensive for your brand if you want to do that in-house. So obviously it's going to cost you a lot of time upfront to build a team, to train a team to do that, but you're going to also be able to do it if you look at my 1-hour guide on the channel. We still have 2 weeks left before the new year comes in, so you can get ahead right now before 2025 to be ready to destroy your competition in the new year. We've implemented these systems for multiple 7 and 8 figure brands in different niches. You can book a call with me in the first link in the description, and on the call I'll give you a free audit roadmap on your store. So even if you are not a fit to work together, you still come out with things you can implement yourself. If you want my 60-page e-commerce split testing system PDF, so you can implement this for yourself and for your brand and build a team in-house, you can get that in the second link in my description. Just put in your email and you'll also receive weekly insights on CRO and things we run for the brands we work with. See you in the next video.